Howdy, and welcome to the Mighty Mighty Chuck channel. So, YouTube drops its first ever podcast chart, and then it brags. It does a lot of bragging. Spotify and Apple have had their podcast charts for years, but now YouTube, home to a billion monthly podcast listeners, has decided it's done letting rivals own the scoreboard, and this week launched its own. I'll be honest with you. Just today, I was trying to, before I read this article, I was thinking about, I finally noticed the podcast in my dashboard. I never noticed it before. I don't know how long it's been there. But so I started trying to figure it out. Okay, what do they mean by podcast? Is it audio? Just audio? And I went to, the youtube.com/podcast and listed the podcast there. And most of what I saw there were video. I didn't see any that was just sound. When I think of podcasts, I think of like more like radio than visual. Because in the early days, that's kind of the way it was. Uh, but basically, the podcast is like a list. Like YouTube has their list. Like you can put your video as part of a list. And there's a special kind of list. It's a podcast list. And I don't fully understand it, to be perfectly honest. I was just glancing over some of the stuff today, and I'm so take anything I say with a grain of salt. And high blood pressure. uh, but I didn't fully understand what I was looking at. But basically, it has to do with lists. Is the best I could understand. Um, so apparently, the people that's been boosting their videos have been using the podcast list to help boost their videos. You'll notice a lot of the names on the YouTube podcast are, basically just, bloggers, video makers, creators. The Joe Rogan Experience. Well, he's over on Spotify. He's on YouTube. He's all over the place. He's making millions of dollars. That don't help me none. I'll be honest with you. Something called Kill Tony. Have no idea what that is. Rod and Mango, 48 Hours. The Midas Touch podcast, H3 podcast. I know who he is. I totally dislike him. Club Shay Shay. This past week with Theo Vaughn. Smosh reads Reddit stories. Dr. Insanity. The Pat McAfee Show. Timcast RL. The people that's generally pushed at the top of YouTube. Some of these people I haven't heard of, to be honest. Murder, Mystery, and Makeup, The Tucker Carlson Show, The Megyn Kelly Show, Gil's Arena, Reality Check with Ross Coulthart, Lex Friedman Podcast. It is what it is, honey child. Not without the honey child. It's hard for me to read that without saying that at the end. No. It is what it is. It's the name of the podcast. Bad Friends Podcast, 60 Minutes. I mean, a lot of elite media mixed in here. Um, I'm not going to read the whole list. Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend. The David Pakman Show. Crime Weekly. The Yard Podcast. I didn't necessarily read those in order, by the way. Basically, YouTube's trying to give certain creators, it's already their favorite children, they're already, boosted up, because, I mean, they're part of the primary list, obviously, so they're already there at the top. But basically give them another leg up, another boost, let people, like, until I was looking over who was the most popular YouTuber, I never heard of PewDiePie back in the old times. But just him being on that list, I knew who PewDiePie was. Before that, I had no idea who the dude was. Could care less who he is, to be honest. uh, but that's the way it works. They create these lists, the top people, and then it helps boost them up even higher. This is our best of the best. Is it's what they try to pretend or say. And then people like Chuck, well, I'm not that great to be honest. I'm really not. I wish I was, but I'm not. I'm old. I'm ugly. I'm cringy. Uh, I did have my setup turned around where you could see into the living room part of the office here, and I I had the cat tore my shades up, my blinds up, so I stuck a, garbage bag over so the light would not be shining and mess the video up. And of course that looks bad, obviously. The room don't totally look bad. I don't always keep it clean though. I've got a really expensive wash stand. I keep it cluttered with stuff. Um, so anyway, I now have the wall behind me instead of the open room. I don't really know which is better as far as getting traffic. Um, I know one thing lately. I started trying to do graphics with my videos. And instead of showing my ugly mug, uh, um, it didn't help none. Actually, I think the video set up where the thumbnail has me on it actually does a little bit better. Instead of, creating a graphic, like when I'm talking about the Pope, do a graphic with the Pope and a little boy and, wishing well and, can you grant me 3 wishes? And the Pope, basically responds to words that are basically abstract, like love, hope, and then laughter. That's not so much abstract, but it kind of fits in there. Something that you can pretend, you know, 3 wishes you can pretend to grant. What you doing, kitty cat? What you doing, little baby? What you doing, little baby? So anyway, um, but yeah, up until recently, I had not even noticed the podcast on the dashboard, which I hadn't been putting that many videos on YouTube anyway, because I'm not Joe Rogan, and I don't get that much traffic on any of the videos I upload. Overall, the channel's got some traffic. I mean, there's certain videos that have done okay through the years and still, produce. A video like this, though, of course, is not going to produce over time. It may not produce even one view. I think the last 2 videos I uploaded to YouTube have like 1, 2, 3 views, and then if you pull the videos up a different way, it'll show like 0 views, even though on my dashboard it shows like I think 3 views or something. I mean, awful. No matter how you look at it, awful. But so they're trying to promote the podcast, and their podcast is not a whole lot different than their videos. They don't they don't provide the feed like like if you're on a regular podcast host site. They provide you a feed that you could upload to other sites. They don't provide that, is my understanding. Um, like I said, I used to think the podcast was mainly audio. I mean, that's one of the main things I was looking at up, was trying to figure out with YouTube. Okay, is it audio? Is it video? Okay, if it's video, how is this different than just your regular YouTube experience? Really, how's it different? I mean, you can do lists. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me, to be perfectly honest. But so much of the internet these days doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. I may be part of my problem. Um, so anyway, YouTube is, promoting itself as a podcaster. Now, part of it is that the podcast has put part of their music, which is both, paid and free with advertisements. So the podcasts are listed, um, as part of the music part of YouTube. So that's kind of different. But no, it's video as well as audio. My understanding, anyway. So YouTube is declared by some to be the #1 podcast platform in the U.S. Sure, Whatever you say, man. Whatever you say. Much thanks for watching and listening. I do appreciate it. Thank y'all so much. If you have enjoyed this video, please consider buying the ebook, The Suspense Account, Inflamed by the Sea. It's one book. It's a long book. The price is $8.99. The story is about a church. It's about a murder at that church. It's about a secret society. It's about that society presenting themselves as a religion, being a religion within a religion that uses the church on the bluff. Where two religions come together, but they don't necessarily know that they've come together. It's a story of mysticism, of ghost, of adventure. A young boy hides on a boat of Captain Ravine, who is going to recover the body of his dead brother. And together the boy and the captain end up on an island together. They have an adventure together. Story's not perfect. I wish it was better in places. But overall, I think the book is worth the $8.99. $8.99. I do appreciate your considering the purchase of the ebook. Much thanks. And much thanks for watching the video. I do appreciate it.